Good morning. Today we are going to discuss how to solve equations with rational exponents. This is the second topic for the third unit. Yesterday we've discussed how to change rational exponents to radical form, and we are going to use that in solving equations with rational exponents. So before we proceed to the main topic, let us have first a recap of what we have discussed yesterday. Okay, so if you are going to have x raised to 2/3 and you are asked to change this to radical form, always remember that the denominator is always the index, will become the index. The numerator of the exponent will be the power or the exponent of the radicand or of the whole radical expression or radical number, and x here, which is the base, will become the radicand. So this is the one that you will put inside the radical symbol. So that will become, since the denominator is 3, so this will become cube root of x raised to 2. Or you can write it this way, cube root of x raised to 2. So if you have a b raised to 3/4, so that will be the 4th root, because the denominator is 4, so the index is 4, so 4th root of ab raised to 3, or 4th root of ab raised to 3. That's the same. Another one, let's say you have 5x raised to 1/2. The denominator of the exponent is 2, so that will be square root. We don't write 2 for an exponent, for an index. Then 5x raised to 1, and we also don't write 1 for an exponent. So this is square root of 5x is the same as 5x raised to 1/2. Okay, so let us now proceed to the topic. Let us solve rational exponents or equations with rational exponents. Let us find the solution. Now, same thing, when you are looking for the value of variable, we have to isolate the variable in one side of the equation. So if you have x raised to 1/2 minus 5 equals 0, we have to isolate x in one side of the equation. So that means we don't want -5 here and 1/2. So to do that, we have to eliminate them. So we will eliminate -5 first. So to do that, we have to add both sides by 5. Right? So this becomes 0. So you have x raised to 1/2 is equal to +5. Right? And then this is not yet the final answer because you still have exponent 1/2. So we have to eliminate this also. Now this is a rational exponent. This is a fraction. So how do we eliminate fractional exponents? So to eliminate that, we want to make this equal to 1. Okay, so to do that, we have to get the reciprocal of 1/2. When you say reciprocal, you just flip it. Okay, so your numerator becomes the denominator and the denominator becomes the numerator. So that will become 2/1 or 2, right? So what we will do is to get the reciprocal, and then we will raise both sides of the equation by the reciprocal of the exponent. So what does it mean? So x raised to 1/2, you are going to raise that by 2/1 or 2, and you are also going to do that on the right side. Okay, again, get the reciprocal and then raise both sides of the equation by the reciprocal. So this is 2/1, right? So how do we perform or raise an expression with exponents to another exponent? We just simply multiply, right? So 1 times 2 is 2. Let me write it down. 2/1, 2 times 1 is also 2, is equal to 5 raised to 2 is 25. Now what is 2/2? 2/2 is 1, right? So that is x raised to 1, and we don't write 1 for an exponent. So x is equal to 25. So basically, our goal here is to make the exponent equal to 1. And to do that, you have to get the reciprocal, and then you raise both sides of the exponent, of the equation to the reciprocal so that it becomes 1, right? Because 2 times 1 is 2 and 2 times 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Alright, let's have number 2. 4x raised to 1/2 minus 5 equals 27. It's the same thing. We have to isolate x here, so we don't want -5, 4, and 1/2. So we have to eliminate -5 first, so we are going to add both sides by 5. Right, so we have 4x raised to 1/2 is equal to 32. And then eliminate 4, since this is multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division, so we are going to divide 4x raised to 1/2 divided by 4, and you are going to do that also on the right side. So 32 divided by 4, this becomes 1, right? So 1x raised to 1/2, or x raised to 1/2, is equal to 32 divided by 4 is 8, right? And now you again have an exponent of 1/2. You want to make this equal to 1. We want to eliminate 1/2 here. We want the exponent be equal to 1. So we are going to get the reciprocal of 1/2. That is again 2 over 1, or 2. So we are going to raise x raised to 1/2 by 2. And you are also going to raise 8 by the power of 2. So this is over 1. So 1 times 2, 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So this becomes 1. So x is equal to 8 squared is 64. Alright? Let's have the next example. 2x raised to 3/4 is equal to 16. Okay, so this one is simple. You have 2 times x raised to 3/4. To eliminate 2, since this is multiplication, you are going to divide both sides by 2. So 2x raised to 3/4 is equal to 16. Divide both sides by 2 so that we can make this equal to 1. So 1x raised to 3/4, or x raised to 3/4 is equal to 16 divided by 2 is 8. And then we have to eliminate the exponent 3/4. To eliminate this, we want to make this equal to 1, right? So to do that, you get the reciprocal of 3/4. The reciprocal of 3 over 4 is 4 over 3. So we are going to raise both sides by 4 over 3. So 8 raised to 4 over 3. So 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. So this becomes 1, right? So x is equal to, now this is a rational expression with the rational exponent also. So to simplify this, you can just simply use the calculator. Just press 8, then raise to 4 over 3, then enter. Now without calculator, how do we simplify this? So we are going to change this to radical form. The denominator is 3, so that will be cube root of 8 raised to 4, right? And then you have to simplify this first, the one inside the parenthesis. So x is equal to, what is the cube root of 8? Cube root of 8 is 2, because 2 raised to 3 is 8, right? Okay, so this will become 2 raised to 4. X is equal to 2 raised to 4 is 2, 4, 8, 16. Right? Next, number 4. X minus 2 raised to 2/3 minus 4 equals 5. Same thing, we have to isolate x. So the first expression that we need to isolate, need to eliminate is -4. So we add both sides by 4. This becomes 0. So x minus 2 raised to 2/3 is equal to 9. Right? And then we cannot add both sides by 2. Okay? This is a common mistake. You cannot do that since you have parentheses. That means x minus 2 is raised to 2/3. So you cannot add both sides by 2 because of this parenthesis and the exponent. So what are we going to do? So we are going to eliminate 2/3. Okay? So to eliminate that, get the reciprocal of 2/3. The reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. So we are going to raise both sides of the equation by 3/2 because that's the reciprocal of 2/3. So that will become x minus 2 raised to 2/3, and then you raise that to 3/2, and you have to do that also on the right side. So 3/2. This becomes 0, right? Because 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 2 is 6, 6 divided by 6 is 1. So x minus 2 is equal to, again, just like number 3, this is a rational exponent also. 9 has a rational exponent 3/2. So to simplify this, you can just simply use the calculator, or we are going to rewrite this into radical form. So that will be the square root of 9. See, the index is 2, the denominator is 2, so the index is 2, raised to 3, right? So x minus 2, what is the square root of 9? Square root of 9 is 3. But you have to answer for that, one positive and one negative, raised to 3, right? So square root, when you are looking for the square root of a number, you always have to answer one positive and one negative, because positive 3 times positive 3 is positive 9. Negative 3 times negative 3 is also positive 9. So you have 2 answer. Now since you have 2 answer for 3, for the square root of 9, which is positive and negative 3, you have to split that. So x minus 2 is equal to 3 cubed, and x minus 2 is equal to negative 3 cubed. Right? I put parenthesis for negative 3 so that you will, because negative is also raised to 3. So that's negative times negative times negative. So add this by 2. Okay, not yet. So we have 2. So we have to simplify 3 raised to 3. So that will be x minus 2 is equal to 3 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27, right? Then add both sides by 2. X is equal to 29. And then you have also to perform this one. So x minus 2 is equal to negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. That is negative 27, right? Because negative times negative is positive, times negative is negative. So negative 27 plus 2, both sides. Okay. So x is equal to negative 25. So you have 2 values for x. Okay, let's have the next one. What is the value of x if x raised to 1/2 is equal to 64 raised to 1/3? Okay, so x raised to 1/2 is equal to 64 raised to 1/3. Okay, so the same thing, you have to isolate x. To isolate x, you have to eliminate 1/2. The reciprocal of 1/2 is 2/1, right? So we are going to raise x raised to 1/2 by 2. You will also do that to 64 raised to 1/3. You raise that to 2. So this becomes 1 because this is over 1. So 1 times 2, 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So x raised to 1, or x, is equal to, you also multiply this, right? 64 raised to 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3. And then you can just simply get the calculator and then solve this using the calculator. Now without calculator, that is x is equal to the cube root of 64 raised to 2. So x is equal to, what is the cube root of 64? That is 4. Because 4 times 4 is 16 times 4 is 64. 4 square or x is equal to 16. Right? So that's how we solve rational or equation with rational exponents. Now there is another way to solve this. You can also solve equations with rational exponents by graphing. So let's try that also. Right, so we are going to use Desmos graphing calculator to graph this, and let's see if we are going to have the same answer. But I have to erase my solution here so that we will have enough space for by graphing. Okay, so let's just erase this. Anyway, you can go back and look at the answer and you can compare. Alright, so let's have number 1. Okay, when you are solving by graphing, make sure that it is equal to 0. Okay, that is very important. So it should be equal to 0. Okay, so in this case, for number 1, it is already equal to 0, so we don't have to manipulate the equation. So all we have to do is to graph that using Desmos graphing calculator. So you are going to type in only the left side of the equation. You don't have to write equal to 0. So that will be x. You can use this, x raised to 1/2. So that will be, since your exponent is not 2, you are going to use a raised to b. Okay, then 1/2, that is 1 divide by 2, and then just press arrow right so that it will go down, then minus 5. Okay, and then that's it. You don't have to type in equal to 0, just the left side. And then look at the graph. As you can see, this is the graph. We are looking for the x-intercept. The x-intercept is where the graph passes through the x-axis. So this is your graph. This is your x-axis. The green one is the graph, and this is the x-axis. So this is the point where the graph passes through the x-axis. So the answer is 25. Right? So the answer here is x is equal to 25, and we have the same answer from our solution earlier. Okay, let's have number 2. For number 2, you have 4x raised to 1/2 minus 5 equals to 25. I've said earlier that it should be equal to 0. So to make it equal to 0, to make this 0, we are going to subtract it by 27. You also do that on the right side, the left side. So this becomes 0, right? So you have 4x raised to 1/2 minus 32, because negative 5 minus 32 is negative 32. And then you are going to type this in Desmos. So let's just edit this one. So that is 4x raised to 1/2 minus 32. Alright, and then this will be the graph. Now let us look for the x-intercept, or the point where the graph passes through the x-axis. That is 64. Okay, so x is equal to 64. Right? Next, let's have number 3. For number 3, you have 2x raised to 3/4 is equal to 16. Okay, let's erase that one. So 2x raised to 3/4 is equal to 16. We have to make this equal to 0. To make that equal to 0, we have to subtract this by 16. Subtract also the left side by 16, so this becomes 0. So the left side will become 2x raised to 3/4 minus 16. Right? And then graph that. Alright, so let's just edit this. So that is 2x raised to 3/4 minus 16. Okay, and then look for the intersection of the x-axis and the graph, or the x-intercept. Okay, so the answer is 16. So x is equal to 16. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is x minus 2 raised to 2/3 minus 4 is equal to 5. So again, let us change this to standard form. We have to make this equal to 0. So to do that, you have to subtract this by 5. So that will be x minus 2 raised to 2/3. Negative 4 minus 5 is negative 9 equals 0. This is already 0. Okay, then you type that into decimals. Okay, so that will be x minus 2, close parenthesis, then to type in an exponent, so a raised to b, 2 divided by 3 minus 9. Right? So as you can see here, this is the graph. Okay, this is the graph. The graph passes through the x-axis 2 times. Okay, so this and this, right? So we have two values for x. X is equal to negative 25 and x is equal to 29. So you have two values, just like what we had in our first solution. Okay, next, let's have the last one. So this is x raised to negative 1, I mean 1/2. This is not negative, that is positive. Okay, raised to 1/2 is equal to 64 raised to 1/3. Now we have to make this equal to 0. All you have to do is to move this there by subtracting 64 raised to 1/3. 1/3. Okay, subtract by 64 raised to 1/3. So this becomes 0. So x raised to 1/2 minus 64 raised to 1/3 equals 0, right? Now you type this in decimals. Okay, so that is x raised to 1/2 minus 64 raised to 1/3. Okay, and the graph will look like this. Look for the intersection of x-axis and the graph, or the x-intercept. So the answer is x is equal to 16, which is the same. Alright, so you can use graphing, or you can also solve. If you're asked to solve this or to do this during your quiz or your test, you can use Desmos graphing calculator, so it will be more fast and easier. Just always make sure to equate it to 0 first before you graph it. Then you can go back again and try it on your own and see if your answers are correct.